Welcome to Athens City Council. It's Monday night, August 1st at 7 p.m. And before we start our regular session of council, we'll be having a public hearing on university estates. This has come up in committee discussion before, and what we'll be doing is discussing vacating the Overview Drive city right-of-way. And so I'll turn to Councilmember Fall and some of the city administration to walk us through this.
Thank you. I'm going to just read the ordinance. That's probably the easiest thing to do at this point. The whereas is on June 16, 2016, Athens City Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend vacating the Overview Drive city right-of-way. And whereas said vacation will allow the existing road Altamont to continue on uninterrupted as originally platted. So that's basically the two things. This is a recommendation from the Planning Commission, the City Planning Commission. We do have several people here to speak to it. First, I'll start with members of our City Planning Commission. If you have any comments.
This came before us, as you stated, it was voted unanimously, and I think Rusty is here to speak to it tonight. You show the proposed replat. It's a paper plat. Right now, this roadway was always just platted on paper to be this cul-de-sac. And the property division is in order to allow some building for a residential facility up there. And I believe that even by the topography of the area, that it really was not going to serve well as what was paper platted there. So this vacation is a change to a planned unit development, and that's why it's before you to change it legislatively.
Okay. Mayor? Okay. Great. Yeah. Okay. Would you like to input anything, Mr. Rittenhouse?
Good evening. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me tonight. My name is Rusty Rittenhouse. I'm an attorney at Lavelle Associates, and I represent Citizens Independent Bank Corp. They are the owner of lots 7A in University Estates. They are seeking the vacation of this platted cul-de-sac. I suppose we can put that map back up, could we? Is that on the screen? Is there any way to do that?
Can we put the map back
Scott,
up?
can we put the map back up? Thank you.
When this was originally platted, I suspect the developer may have been down in Florida and didn't really pay attention to the topography. This is about a 60-degree slope that goes straight down, and there's really no way that this cul-de-sac could ever service any houses unless they were put on piers or something like that. The goal here is to eliminate this so that Citizens Independent Bank Corp can sell this and utilize it. They have a buyer lined up, which is Echoing Meadows, and Echoing Meadows is looking to develop a residential facility for individuals with disabilities. That is what the property will be used for. There's not going to be any change to the existing road, and that's about it. Is there anything I'm missing, Brian? Anybody have any questions?
Any questions from council?
Has there been any comment by Mr. Rittenhouse from any neighbors there or anything like that? Is there?
No one's contacted me about this.
And would anybody like to speak in the audience tonight?
And if anybody would like to come up from the audience to speak to this? We also have a sheet going around, right? Public hearing sheet. Right? Do we?
Did you have a question?
Yes.
I do. Has the city expended any money at all on the project?
I don't believe so.
Thank you.
No. So.
No, there's been no city monies.
Oh.
Is that right?
We'll send around a sheet. Somebody has a sheet. Debbie's not here, and so we're like, she takes care of these things. We're lost. So if somebody could find a sheet. Is there anybody from the audience would like to speak to this? Great. This will be up for second reading, so it has a couple more readings to go. So, I close the public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our regular portion of council, and our first item of business is to establish a quorum. All council members are here tonight, and as we mentioned, our clerk of council, who helps keep us organized, is not with us tonight. So our next item of business will be to appoint an acting clerk for this session of council. And would I perhaps have a volunteer who would be willing to?
I did it last time.
I can do that.
Jennifer, okay. Jennifer has agreed, but we need a motion and a second to approve
I motion
her.
that we have Jennifer Cochran be our acting clerk of council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Jennifer, Councilmember Cochran, as the acting clerk of council for this session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next item of business is disposition of the minutes, and our clerk was busy during the month of June catching up with, or in July, catching up with minutes from our regular and special sessions. So we have minutes from May 23rd, May 31st, June 6th, and June 20. And I would entertain one motion to approve the disposition of these minutes.
So moved.
Do I have
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll now move on to communications. I will report that we did at one point in June, and it was when council was out of session in July. In late June, we did receive a notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for DBA Athens carryout on 74 North Court Street, applying for a C1, C2, and D6 liquor permits. And unfortunately, the responses, if we were going to mail any kind of response to them, was July 22nd. So council was not in session to be able to act on that if they had wanted to, but I didn't hear any other comments on that. And have there been any other communications that council members want to share? Okay. Yes, Councilmember McGee.
Thank you, Council President Nisley. On several occasions, I've noticed persons riding bicycles and skateboards down the sidewalks of Court Street and at various places. I've made a point of trying to stop them and explain to them that it's prohibited. Every one of them has pointed out to me they did not know it. I tried to find the signs to show them, and they all, I believe, strongly felt that they were not given notice that this was a prohibited conduct. So I would just point out to the administration as well as council members that I think it's a dangerous situation to allow this kind of behavior, and I think it's the kind of behavior that needs to be nipped in the bud early on before thousands of students come back and think that this is permitted. But I think it's the kind of thing that has to be brought to their attention strongly early on. So I would urge, from what I've heard from other people, I would urge that something be done. Thank you.
Thanks for the communication. I know that administration works hard on this at the beginning of each of the years of repainting symbols on the sidewalks, and so we'll redouble the efforts, and maybe we can do something with social media too to the students. Maybe work with the dean of students at OU to educate some of the new students. I know that's an ongoing process. So, but thanks for that. Communications and reports from other elected officials. Law Director Elias. No. Auditor Hecht. Mayor Patterson.
I have several.
Okay.
I'll start with the more serious and leave off with the more light-spirited. There's a boil order in effect on the south side of the city in the Second Ward on Coventry and York, and likely some other affected. There is signage that, if it hasn't gone up already, and notifications about the boil order. So just to make everyone aware of a very recent water line break in that area. Wednesday, the 3rd, August 3rd, is the city's safety day. City building will be closed. Auditor Hecht, I don't know if you're... Okay. There'll be a number of things going on at the community center, safety day related. Speaking of signage, so thank you very much, Member McGee, on bringing that up about bicycles. Another thing, too, is just to kind of reiterate that in our recreational facilities on the campus of such or city parks, that they are smoke-free zones, which includes the parking lot outside the community center pool. And so there will hopefully be new signage going up, but there is signage there reminding people of just parks, pool area, community center, campus, and whatnot. And to include the bike path. Those are smoke-free zones. We have an ordinance in place that you're not supposed to smoke there. And finally, this is awesome. This is one of those feel-good moments. The city of Athens was awarded the Keep Ohio Beautiful 2016 Clean City for cities under populations of 25,000. And that, the grant that went forward, Deputy Service Safety Director, Ron Lucas is the one who essentially put it together, but it was bundling together the Athens Beautification Day, which has about 1,500 plus individuals who participate in that to keep the city beautiful that particular day, and hopefully it changes some behaviors in the future. It also included the tag, which is the graffiti removal campaign that's ongoing in the city, and then finally the cigarette butt bin efforts to remove cigarette butts from the uptown area, and hopefully others. So this was awarded up in Columbus. And the interesting thing is that there was a number of individuals who were also receiving rewards, but reached out to myself and Ron Lucas wanting to know, how do you do beautification day? How does that take place? How is it your tag works? And then also wanting to know, are you willing to give us a butt bin? And the answer was, no, but we'll tell you where you can get them and how to implement a program. So big thank you from my office for everyone who's involved in this. But kudos to the city for being recognized at the state level, and I'm sure being recognized at the national level as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We'll move on with ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 8716 is an ordinance vacating the Overview Drive City right-of-way and the University Estates planned unit development, and this is introduced by Councilmember Fall. Ordinance 8816 is an ordinance amending Athens City Code, Title 21, Subdivision Regulations, Chapter 21.08, Requirements for Construction of Improvements, Section 21.08.02, Performance Guarantee for Installation and Maintenance of Improvements, introduced by Councilmember Fall. We now have ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 9616 is an ordinance amending the 2016 appropriation ordinance and authorizing the auditor to make an interfund transfer. This is introduced by Councilmember Reisner.
Thank you, Madam President. Forgive me if I'm a little short of breath here, but I'll try to read through this. Section 1, the 2016 appropriation ordinance 1/2015 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the following sums: $50,000 to General Fund Fire 101-208 TC400 for loan payment of fire trucks, $23,782 to Recreation/Community Center Debt Fund 470 TC600 for transfer to cover additional costs of generator installation, and $400,000 to Issue 1 Grant Fund 590 TC 500 for OPWC grant fund or grant direct payment and increase the total appropriations by said amount. Section 2, the 2016 appropriation ordinance 1/2015 is further amended by decreasing and increasing the following sums: decrease General Fund Fire 101-208 TC 200 by $3,500 and increase 101-208 TC 500 by same amount for Murphy Bed Mattresses, and decrease general fund lands and buildings 101-112 TC 200 by $12,000 and increase 101.112 TC 500 by same amount for City Hall roof corner repair, and decrease and increase in the total appropriations by said amount. Section 3, the auditor is hereby authorized to make the following interfund transfer from Rec/Community Center Debt Fund 470 to Community Center Fund 271, $23,782. Section 4, the 2016 Appropriation Ordinance 2015 is further amended to appropriate from the unappropriated balance the following sum: $23,782 to Community Center Fund 271 TC 200 for supplies, an increase in the total appropriations by said amount. And as far as I'm aware of, there's no reason for suspension or anything. We'll go for second reading. Yes?
Perhaps at second reading. Yeah,
But not right now.
tonight.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right. We'll move on to announcements and other business. The first being a motion to accept the auditor's June 2016 financial reports. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the auditor's June 2016 financial reports. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I would like to check with our announcements then and check with fellow council members to see which committees might need to meet next week.
Transportation.
Transportation, okay.
Finance, personnel.
Finance.
Safety's already on, I guess.
Finance and personnel, service safety, okay, and planning. And then we'll also likely have a committee of the whole meeting and to perhaps discuss some preliminary information about Park Place from Ohio University. So this will be just some preliminary information and queries about that. All right.
President Mason.
Yes.
I have one question that just came to my mind. The Yeah Kids,
This Wednesday.
is it this Wednesday or August 3rd?
I can look it up.
It is this Wednesday.
It is.
It's this Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay,
Out on Hope Drive
right.
at the Metropolitan Housing Authority.
So that's a project of the Community Food Initiatives. Thank you, Jeff, for remembering, and Councilmember Butler for remembering that. It's a great
Always like it.
venture
Always
where
go.
the Community Food Initiatives works with children during the summer to garden and then produce their wares and actually sell some of the items at the Athens Farmers Market. So a great project. All right. We now have an opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on the agenda. So if there was something that was not mentioned in an ordinance or a report that you'd like to speak to, yes, come on up. And you have 3 minutes. And if you will tell us your name and address so that we have that on the record for us.
My name is Scott Wolf. I represent S&J Plumbing, 9009 Elliottsville Road, Athens. I met with you guys, talked to you at the last meeting that you adjourned, and had a lot of plumbing concerns about unlicensed contractors working.
Oh, yes.
We still have those concerns, of course. You know, I did talk to the mayor briefly, and he said they are looking into the concerns that I brought to you guys, that they're working with this to change the code. So at least either it is more legible, understandable, or to change it to reflect that you guys want licensed professionals. Right now you have a registration, not a license requirement for contractors. People that advertise as plumbing or heating or anything else is allowed to do that, allowed to work in your homes. The reasons for the licensing is that they make sure, you know, we don't have felony records, we're background checked, we have bonding, we have all kinds of requirements, continue education, and you guys are letting this continue. It's not a good thing for the citizens. You need licensed professionals working in your houses, and right now you don't seem to have that. And I just urge you guys to, as this new draft is being made with the code, not to water it down to accept unlicensed professionals, but to make it a little more stringent or follow, I guess what I'm asking is to follow what it says, and that's to have licensed people. The only thing I want to leave you with is on your way home, think about, environment and safety. Safety is the biggest thing, and you guys spend a lot of time on environment, and I'd like to see you spend a little time on safety. My end goal is to see a building department, and I'm sure a few of you join me in that. If anybody would like to talk to me, please get a hold of me. I'm available, and we're going to keep pushing this issue until I start seeing things a little better. I went in since this meeting, I've repaired a gas line that was turned on by a company, had a gas leak major. I was called in for a real estate inspection. This line had been on for a month and a half. I couldn't even get a test on it. We had to take the system. That line was installed by a rental owner that built a house by unprofessional people, installed the services, installed the heating, installed the electric, installed everything. This is what we get when we let that happen. I've gone in also twice in the last month since I met you guys. I found water heaters that was installed by unlicensed people. The venting was incorrect on one of them, which is a carbon dioxide hazard, major issue. So there's more than just water comes out of your faucet. So think about it on your way home.
Thank you very much. Okay. What we'll be doing next is having a motion to enter into executive session. But what we'll do is we'll have the motion. We'll take a break for 5 minutes because I know we have some members of the audience here and also from the press so that they have time to ask questions that they might want to of council members or staff. And then after that, we will open the doors again to adjourn. So, and the purpose of the executive session, I'm assuming, is pending legislation. Litigation, okay. Excuse me, litigation.
I move that we go into executive session for pending litigation to include all members of council, president of council, the mayor, the safety service director, the law director, and the auditor.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to enter into executive session, and I will take a voice vote of each council member. Butler? Reisner?
Aye.
Happy? Fall? And Cochran? Katsas? And McGee. Okay. So we will enter into executive session at 7:24 right now. We'll say it's 7:30. Thank you.